Welcome everyone to this new episode of our podcast series. So today with us we have our colleague from Sentinel Project, Daryl from Tristone Group. So basically, Daryl will give us an overview of what actually is Tristone, what they are doing, and also we are going to speak, as always, a little bit and also have Daryl's perspective on GDPR and also personal data protection and how this is affecting SMEs and the citizens in general. Daryl, welcome. Thank you very much for accepting this, well, let's call it challenge. The idea here is for us to have a very short conversation. And I will basically pass the word to you. If you can, well, basically introduce yourself and also introduce Tristone Group.
I am the Director of Corporate Governance with Tristone. Tristone are an investment company that focuses upon buying and building SMEs involved within the social care, healthcare and education sectors within the UK. We focus on acquisitions of organisations that have the ethos and the values that are consistent with our own. So our primary driver is to provide vulnerable people with high quality support and care and education where that's needed within some of those businesses. All of the businesses we acquire are SMEs, and we provide them with the means, the direction and the scope to be able to develop their services, essentially so more people can benefit from the provisions that are offered. The main part of our business is focused around social care. And we have 9 businesses based across the UK at present.
Okay, thank you, Daryl, just for briefing us on basically Tristone. Since Sentinel project, one of, let's say, the objectives in actually the mission, it's actually to, well, first thing, it's about creating awareness on SMEs on how the importance of being GDPR compliance and also data protection, personal data protection compliance. And one of the things, or one of the key aspects that you mentioned from Tristone is social care. And I believe that here, things like personal data protection is a must. Can you just tell us a little bit on how Tristone is handling, or it's basically planning to handle some of these challenges that are being imposed lately, like, for example, the GDPR compliance? Can you tell us a little bit on basically how you manage this?
Of course. Thank you, Ruben. One of the challenges that we have within our sector is to ensure that all of the individuals who benefit from the support and care that we provide are safe in terms of their well-being and their welfare. Data protection is an area that is growing in terms of relevance. I think more and more people are understanding the associated risks and vulnerabilities that come from either not understanding what needs to be in place, or even shying away from it in the hope that they might actually not get caught. In terms of social care, there's another layer of concern in that we are duty bound to safeguard the welfare of all of the individuals that access our support. So as much as we place a focus on the practical elements of day-to-day risk mitigation and risk reduction, we also have to factor in the vulnerabilities associated with using ICT systems to communicate and record and report upon the progress and challenges that are presented every day when working within social care and certainly healthcare as well. So in order to ensure that from a high level we have that assurance that we are doing all we can to protect not only those individuals that access that care and support, but also colleagues as well that are working for us, certainly those within a frontline capacity. We need to ensure that we have a clear system and approach to monitoring data protection, the use of data protection, ensuring that we are compliant as well, because that's obviously a key driver for us. And compliance is something that is heavily embedded into our day-to-day working practices, whether it's legislation that's applicable to what we do, regulation, or even guidance, and also regulator inspection frameworks. So we're already we're well versed in the fields of compliance, and data protection is something that we see as being absolutely integral to ensuring the safety and welfare of the people for whom we provide care and support. Most of the businesses that we acquire, in fact all of them, they have all, their main drivers have been providing people with a high quality care, high quality support, with the right ethos and the right values. Now that means that some of them may not have had the opportunity or the understanding that is required to ensure that we're GDPR compliant. So what we're looking to do is to introduce a system that will provide a kind of a level platform, if you like. So all of the businesses that come into the Tristone community are able to take advantage of the Sentinel system. So at board level, we've got assurance that actually what we're doing is correct, it's compliant, it's best practice, if you like, best in class. And we can then develop those systems with those individual providers. We work from a Tristone capacity directly with managing directors and senior management teams from those groups to ensure that we can monitor those systems and give ourselves a certain amount of comfort, if you like, that if there were to be any kind of breach, we have used all reasonable means to avoid any kind of GDPR non-compliance.
Okay, thank you, Daryl. I think you just pointed out several, I would say, relevant issues here. You also mentioned that, well, Tristone, and you specifically, you seem to work with several companies. Most of them probably are SMEs.
Yeah,
I would say the majority of them.
all of them.
Yeah. My next question is, how do you see the mentality of the SMEs and the current landscape, and especially in the UK? Are the people, let's say, aware of GDPR compliance? It's something that they need to let's say to be compliant. It's a must. It's something that they are aware of it, or did you find, I would say, some obstacles or some people which the mentality is not yet, I would say, within this direction? How do you see the mentality of the SMEs towards these challenges that are basically growing and raising with respect to the data protection?
I think in many ways there's a temptation to see GDPR as a complex, almost secondary area of diligence. However, there's been an increasing focus on data security breaches within the media, and I think that that's gaining momentum now. So there is an increasing understanding of the risks associated with GDPR, and therefore, with non-compliance with GDPR, and therefore, more and more of my colleagues are understanding the importance of maintaining safe and secure systems, which again actually align themselves with many of the regulatory conditions associated directly with social care and functioning as a social care provider. So the need for confidentiality, for example, is given, but how that then relates to what we do in terms of our communication systems and reporting systems, data retention, data processing, there's a little bit of potentially fog, mist, if you like. So the introduction of a system like Sentinel will help those leads, if you like, understand and reaffirm the need to be compliant. It will help them to understand the risks associated with non-compliance and with not ensuring that there are robust security systems in place to defend against people that would seek to do harm through the through ICT networks, etc.
So basically, and picking up on this last part that you mentioned about Sentinel, so you see that Sentinel here plays an important role in the middle of this. So not only I would say a mentality changer, not only that, but actually to support SMEs with an ICT platform where SMEs can use it in their daily business, and actually the value added that they can take from this kind of platform, in your perspective, in your understanding, could be enormous. So in your, let's say, if I get it right, in your idea, SMEs should be, I would say, in the state that are ready now to absorb, let's say, what we in Sentinel are developing and preaching.
Absolutely. It's one of the things we try to do, and we genuinely believe that this is important, is to maintain the autonomy of those individual businesses. So what we're not going to do is to come in and say to an SME that we've recently acquired, okay, you're part of the Tristone community now, you need to do what we do. So we're not going to touch their kind of the day-to-day values, their ethos, their approach, but there are certain high-level information and communication systems, aids, if you like, towards the management of those businesses that are not only in place to support those businesses to grow, but also in place because of the need to have an effective corporate governance system that works and functions in the best interests of all stakeholders. So, for example, we will put in systems of software that enable us to generate KPIs on a monthly basis that are, and because they're generated via software systems, they are inherently evidence-based. So that would give us assurance of, for example, compliance and quality and standards that are associated with those individual sectors. We follow the same process with GDPR. So what we're looking for is a platform that all of the SMEs can engage with, be a level playing field. We will know if there are areas then that need to be developed in terms of their knowledge and their understanding and their functioning around GDPR compliance. And it will also give us the assurance at a higher level, if you like, that everything that needs to be in place is there and it can be monitored. And if there is a breach, then we can demonstrate to the ICO, as it is in the UK, that actually we've taken a reasonable course of action to prevent, unauthorized infiltration of systems, if you like. So if there is a data breach, we can say, look, everything we've done here, we've acted upon and we've done it in good faith, but this is something that's happened that's beyond the scope. So we are talking essentially about minimizing or eliminating avoidable harm, taking account of the fact that actually you can never, ever eliminate risk in that sense.
Exactly. But now pushing into my last question, time flies. So, because you mentioned about Sentinel and what Sentinel is providing. So Sentinel is now on the stage of basically disseminating its platform. And I know that you already had some time also to analyze and also to work a little bit with Sentinel Platform. From what you see until now, and of course we are talking here on the prototype, so this is not, I would say, a mature commercial solution. This is a prototype. But from what you see, from what you saw until today from Sentinel Platform, what is your insights? I mean, what is your let's say, if you want to grade or to rate Sentinel Platform, how do you put it in a sense of SMEs, mostly the SMEs that you know, would be able to take it?
I'd actually genuinely believe the Sentinel Platform is an excellent solution, specifically in terms of what we're looking for. We are currently pilot testing with one of the SMEs within the Tristone community. I did anticipate being called on numerous occasions to provide advice and guidance. That certainly hasn't happened. The colleagues involved have ploughed on with looking at the system and evaluating it. Now, one of the immediate benefits that I can see is actually they've upskilled themselves in actually using the system. And that's aside from the various sort of training components that can be provided through Sentinel as well. Actually using the system has helped them it's aided their understanding of what needs to be in place and also why it needs to be in place. So from that point of view, it's been incredibly beneficial. So once we then start to roll that out, it will provide us as business leaders, if you like, with that assurance that we need from a compliance perspective, but also with the knowledge that actually those key individuals, those individuals that are running and operating those SMEs, also have the knowledge and skills that are required to maintain standards of compliance and security that we seek to embed throughout the Tristone community.
Okay, Daryl, thank you very much for your testimony here. I think it was a very good conversation that we had. And thank you to all of our YouTube channel subscribers. Please don't forget to also, for the ones that haven't subscribed yet, just don't forget to subscribe our channel. And we'll see you in the next podcast series. And thank you very much.
Thank you.